I can take a closer look of one of the colors that I decided to weave with. What I actually did, the warp is a mix of 8-2 and 6-2 yarns, a little mercerized and unmercerized. What I did was I picked actually two of the colors in the warp. One, they're both kind of a gray blue. I picked one that was a mercerized and one that was an unmercerized, and I wove with that and picked that one. What I often like to do is weave tabby and the pattern. So that's what happened, or how I picked that particular color. I also thought, let me tuck this one in. We're going to, hopefully I have this on the right, yes. I'm going to tuck this one in, tighten this up. And I thought, well, there's a lot of this gold color. So I decided, let's try some of the gold and see what it looks like. And what I did, so I got to make sure I have my tabby sitting here. Yeah, I do. I wove a little tabby first, or what we call plain weave. And you really have to weave, I'd say, more than just a ½ inch. I'm going to show you. And that's basically what I came up with. But now I'm going to weave the pattern and see what happens with the pattern. All right, that's kind of an interesting pattern going on there. Let's see what goes on. I'm going to do a little bit more. That's, again, it's okay, but I'm not sure if I really like that one or not. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut that one off, and I'm going to pick another color. What we'll pick next. Let's pick this color. This was another one that was a choice of mine. And again, I'm going to start with the tabby. Now the other thing, if you notice, there's another little thing going on here. I'm not catching that last selvage on either side, but I have a trick that I do with that, so I don't have to use a floating selvage. I'll share that with you in a moment. There we have that one. Oh, that's pretty good. I like that one. And if you can see the difference between these two, this one has a little more turquoise in it, kind of a yellowy turquoise. This one's more of a purpley blue or a gray blue. Now I'm going to try the pattern. This time, rather than starting on 1 and 2, I'm going to start on 2 and 3. What I mean is that two of the treadles tied to shaft 2 and 3. And I'm going to do the pattern now. Let's see what happens. And actually, I need to advance it. I'm getting a little too close to the reed, which is another thing I'm not too fond of. All right, so let me advance this a little bit. Oh, and guess what? Now, the selvage is actually catching. Now I have another one. I'm going to try another color. See what happens with another color here. Let's try white. I've noticed that there are people who do try the white. Let's start with the pattern, then we'll do the tabby. Now that's going to give a whole other look. And this is what I like to do ahead of time, is to put on maybe an extra yard, actually, that I can test it. And if I want to, I can cut it off and then machine wash it. Well, that looks pretty good. Just a little bit of the colors peeking through. Kind of washes it out, at least in my mind. Let me advance a little bit more, and we'll do a little bit of the tabby. And I do have a dog beside me. I hope you can see her. She actually has her ball on the bench next to me, waiting for me to throw it. All right, there's my next sample, and we'll cut this one off. And let's go to something really different. I didn't have any gray. Now what I'm also doing is picking what's on my shelf. I didn't have a gray that I really liked, or enough of it. I decided I'm going to try some black. There was another color I picked. And again, a little bit of tabby. Now, if you're going to be weaving something and you don't have a lot of yarn, if you know enough about your weaving, a tabby will use less yarn than a twill. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm starting on a different, if I got that one. There we go. How about that one? There's another one. And advance that. And I'm going to just try one more. How do I pick my colors? Well, again, a lot of time it's what's on the shelf. I also look to see what colors are prevalent in the warp that I had, and that's kind of what I did in this case. We're going to start with now a kind of an olive green. I did use a little bit of an olive green in there. Let's see what happens with that one. Again, that has a little bit of a yellow green to it. One more of the pattern. And we'll do the tabby. And now I have those selections. And what I can do, and I could cut this off, machine wash and dry it and see what it looks like. However, I actually did pick two colors, surveyed some people. I had this as a sample, and it's very difficult to see. This is this turquoise, kind of a blue here, and the gray down here. What I did was I almost took that one, but this is the same thing. It's a little bit richer. This was what I showed you at the beginning. I picked this one. However, I think my favorite was this one. Whoop, got a little extra thread there, because it really popped. However, I took a survey on the internet, and about half the people liked this color, and half of my people that I surveyed, it was a small group, liked this color. Just one idea when you are not sure what you're going to do with the color, with the warp, when there's a lot of choices on here. Well, maybe some of you like some of the other ones. Maybe if I wanted a more of a summer look, this would be great. For me, it kind of washed out all the other colors, and this one really made it pop. But in the end, the choice is always yours. You can decide what works best for you and what you like to use.